Hey guys, how you doing? How you doing? Happy Father's Day for all you guys that are dads out there. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had a great, Father's Day. I had a great time. Checking out cars at a car show and just having big burgers and hanging out with my kids and my wife. So hope you guys had a great Father's Day. In any case, hey, I'm just about to turn in there. It's about 10:30. I just want to do a quick video, put it up on my blog, and share with you guys and start out the week here. But I just want to share quickly life lessons and success principles that I learned from my dad. Okay, this thing applies to just everyday life, but also for you guys that are in the home-based business industry. You're home-based business professionals, and because there's a lot of lessons here. Because my dad actually, and I'll tell you guys this about all the businesses that he created from home, but also his life is incredible. Let me give you guys a quick rundown, then I'm going to go back and kind of tell you guys little stories and what I learned from each of those stories about that. But first of all, my dad had a sixth grade education, had to quit school by the time after sixth grade to help the family, and he ended up helping support his brothers and sisters. Got to go to school, but he didn't. He worked with my grandfather, became a fisherman, worked hard, just do whatever to make money. Okay. He was pretty honorary too. He's one of the honorary kids. That's probably why he's the one that got pulled out of school and had him work, because he used to get into trouble. I mean, we're talking elementary kid here, getting kicked out of class, being sent to the principal's office. I've got a pretty funny story about that. As a matter of fact, when he was, I don't know what grade, I think it was sixth grade, he was talking and just chattering, and the teacher turned around, who's talking out there? And one of his classmates, kind of, didn't point at him. He started doing it again, and then finally somebody pointed at him, and the teacher threw an eraser, okay, an eraser at him, and he caught it because he plays baseball. He caught it, and he goes, "You're out," he told the teacher, and everybody started laughing, right? Well, guess what? Of course, they got into trouble. He was pretty ticked at the guy that that pointed at him. So what he did, he was so mad that he got sent to the principal. Principal sent him home to get into trouble. Well, he was so mad that, and back then they had to take off all their flip-flops, slippers, shoes, whatever, outside of the classroom. And they have to walk in barefooted. Well, he was so mad at his classmates that he decided to take all the one side of everybody's shoes and throw it at the river on the way home. Needless to say, every kid came out of that class missing one side of one of their shoes. Okay, of course he got more trouble for that. He's also the kid, even at that age and a little bit older, would get into fights. As a matter of fact, they would challenge him and stuff because he learned how to box, he learned how to fight, and he would get into fights, just for the heck of it. Okay, with kids betting on him or whatnot. But one of the things that he also did was that, growing up as a teenager, working with my grandfather, when he did hang out with the kids, one of the things that he always did, and he taught us growing up, is that he goes, it's great to hang out with your friends, but get to know their parents and hang around them too, because you'll learn from them, you can learn wisdom from them, and you'll earn their respect. You want to be respected by your friends' parents, especially if you want to go dating somebody. Well, make sure that you meet your friends or potential girlfriend's parents and get to know them, respect them, ask them for permission if you get, those kind of things. So literally, I was growing up here in the United States, I was actually asking permissions to take their daughters out and stuff, right? Um, Things like that. And then by the time he was 16, hanging out with elderlies, he learned how to box, he learned martial arts, and also he learned how to play the saxophone. And by the time he was 16, 17, he was playing at nightclubs. And my grandfather never knew. My grandparents never knew. None of his family members knew, because he wasn't like showing off or anything, right? And he started playing at nightclubs with the neighbors, and they started telling my grandparents, "Hey, well, how come you haven't gone to see your son?" He goes, "See him where?" And then they went to go see, and they were surprised, right? Um, Also, when the war came, he learned, in 1940s, in the Philippines, he learned how to cut hair, and he ended up cutting the American soldiers' haircut. Gave them haircuts. The soldiers would rather go to him than the hair company barber, right? And so the company troop he ended up building relationships. As a matter of fact, it was said that um, the officer in charge of paying the troops their salary for the 2 weeks, and it was all in cash. He left the briefcase at my dad's barbershop, and they didn't really know where they left it. And my dad could have run off, hid it, gotten rich from it, and they were in dollars. And he returned it because of his honesty. He built a great reputation and friendship with the officers and the generals of the U.S. Army back then. Okay, and as a matter of fact, they came to my grandma and grandparents and they said, we respect him so much, we want to give him an opportunity in the U.S. and send him in the U.S. Well, it was during the war, of course, my grandparents didn't let him go, right? So he didn't have that opportunity, but he built that relationship. I'm going to go back to that too. And so he did that. He ended up forming a band and ended up being able to travel around the world. And then when he was done with that, and I'll tell you guys the stories and the life lessons on that. And then, he did that. He came back. He ended up starting a business. He didn't know anything about business. He had no education, but he partnered up with the piano teachers that we all had, and and he ended up building a piano manufacturing company. They started part time from home, and he hired. Some of my cousins had a piano sales business and they were buying pianos wholesale from another company, and he hired the tuners and stuff, and he had him work for him part-time building pianos. He decided to manufacture the whole thing first, top quality, and because of people skills, he ended up developing one of the highest sales in piano in our area. You got to remember, pianos in a third world country is really a luxury, right? But he became really successful at that. He started a transportation company called Tricycle. It's motorcycle with a sidecar. That's a public transportation in the Philippines. He started lampshade manufacturing. All this were being done at our home. It started out the pianos in our little tiny home. Probably not even, I think our home was probably not more than 600-700 square feet. Our ceiling, I'll never forget. The beams on our ceiling are lower than about 5'5" because my tallest brother's 5'8" or 5'9", and his head was between the two beams. Okay, he had to literally be bound down. But from the piano business and all that, and plus my brother ended up joining the Navy, able to build one of the largest homes in the area. And he did that and came to the United States and just doing jobs here and there. And ultimately, he ended up just, and a lot of people kind of put this down, well, he was just a gardener and a maintenance man for Safeco Life Insurance corporate office here in Seattle. Okay. But I'll tell you what, this gardener and maintenance man used to have general managers and vice presidents of Safeco Life Insurance coming to our house for dinner multiple times. Got to know him real well. He had the journalist for the whole company of Safeco Insurance, became great friends with him, and tell you some of the stories that he achieved in there. He ended up helping Safeco Life Insurance save tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on paper. There was no recycling back then, and he introduced it to Safeco Life Insurance. Okay, ended up saving them tons of money. Their yards and everything were always top notch, beautiful, because he always did things first class. He did his work with quality, and he always worked hard too. Retired and retired at the age of 65 and lived his life. He loved his family. He loved us all, and all that. So, so let me go back now and talk about the life lessons there. School didn't matter. The education, college, school education doesn't determine your success. So you need to continue to learn, and it encourages going to college, but it's not the success. It's the people skills and relationship building that you develop, and the guts to be willing to try and not give up on your dreams is what will make you successful. Okay, he always had guts to try things. As a matter of fact, growing up in high school, well, that's what I did. I drove to work every day, and guess what I got? Stories, lectures every day. And he was a funny man. He was full of laughter, full of humor, and it was just a great guy that way. So life lesson there: be willing to try things. Try and try until you die is what he used to tell me. I mean, never give up on your dreams. Keep going after it. Don't worry about what other people think because they don't know how to think anyway. And and as long as you're following God's law and not breaking any regular law, then do it. Because you may not be as smart or as good as the other guy, but you should never be outworked by them. Okay, always willing to work hard, harder than the next guy. Okay, and always going after that. And so those kind of things are just really vital. So growing up there, having guts to try, having guts to build relationship with authority and adults, and respecting them but not putting them on pedestal. Um, you know, by the way, the relationship that he built because of his honest and building, being very honest, um, you know, that opened doors for him. He used to tell me, hey, it doesn't matter if you start at the bottom, just get your foot in the door and then build your relationship and work harder than anybody, and be smart about, go after a goal, and that should get you up, to different areas. And because of the relationship he built, he was able to travel around different countries when he formed a band. Again, not from a wealthy family, but he was able to travel around the world. He knew about getting recommendation letters from officers and things like that. He entertained with, he made everybody feel good with music and his people skills. He was always making everybody feel good. Okay, I mean, I'll never forget that. Everywhere he goes, everybody just love him because he talks to them, he jokes around with them, it makes them feel good, and they also end up trusting him because he's a trustworthy guy, and he works hard. Okay, um, and he doesn't take crap from anybody. He built relationship with government officials, but also it's kind of like the bad guys knew who he was, and they don't mess with him. Okay, as a matter of fact, you know, nobody messes with my dad because they know that he's got two sides that can take care of them in essence, um, things like that. Just incredible with that. Um, he always put his family first. He always put his family first. I mean, he built a piano manufacturing company, a transportation company, and lampshade company, with no business background, no nothing, just guts and learning from other people all the time, learning from other businesses and just copying, being willing to make mistakes, getting back up and doing it again. Okay, and so guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I mean, as a matter of fact, oh, by the way, when he was traveling as a musician, he got to travel and entertain American soldiers in Vietnam, okay, because of the relationship built way back in 1940s. Okay, the relationship kept in touch with officers and the people in the military, and he stayed in touch with them, and he visits with them, and by the time he started playing music, he played at the officers clubs and the military clubs, and so he got to know more people there and all that. And then from there, he got letters of recommendation, and he was able to get sent to different countries, to India, to Vietnam, to entertain Americans, and he became best friends with American soldiers, and all this just from guts, willingness to try, willing to make mistakes, building relationships, or learning how to find the right people to build relationship with. People that don't understand those kind of things, sometimes they think it's brown nosing. It's not about brown nosing. It's called people skills and being genuine about it. Okay, and just and from there, you know what? He ended up with 7 boys. He lived a successful life. He wasn't wealthy financially, but everybody loved him. He made an impact in every people's lives. I mean, he used to take care of family issues from our extended families, from cousins and stuff like that. Their parents can't handle them, and their parents would go to my dad, and he would take care of them because they knew that he didn't take crap. He'll tell it the way it is and make sure that he teaches them the way it needs to be. Okay, and he always says, "Don't show off your talent. Don't show off your ability. Make it a secret. Don't be a show off, and just be good at it." Okay, but in any case, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully you learned something from there, and guys, just go out there and make a difference. Remember, success in life is about how much of a difference we made on this world and to other people while we're here and when we're gone. Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.